Wow, ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night, which equals hump day in many of our common vernacular. And let me just tell you, we're thrilled to have you here. And thank you so much for joining us. As always, it's a 2-hour fun fest right here on the Paranormal Portal. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm amped up. I'm ready to roll. I'm excited. And I forgot to connect the call board, Don.
Oh, goodness. Worst things have happened.
Well, yeah, if that's the only thing I forgot, we're in good shape. I do have pants on, so we're good there.
Oh, Jesus.
There's that friendly little beep from the Skype-asaurus, and we're connected to the phone lines now, too, so I guess it's official. We're underway here. And as you may have just heard, if I didn't give it away, I'm joined not only by myself and my many personalities, but the impeccable, the unimpeachable Mr. Don Longbeard, the big toe himself, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard.
You know what? I'm going to look up to see if I can find like a big toe hat or something.
Get one that like snaps under your chin, like it's got the flaps. That'd be adorable.
That would be more like a bell head.
That was really nice, Doc. Thank you for that compliment. Speaking of Art Bell, that was very kind. Doc said the show should be primetime paranormal show. It replaced the late great Art Bell. Yeah. It's absolutely humbling to hear something like that. Of course, we're all walking the path that Art cut. None of this would be here.
Treading the no trespassing, treading beyond the no trespassing sign.
Yep, and this is all the path that Art cut. So of course, it's a lot of what is coast to coast. Originally with Art Bell, is inspiration for all of us that are into the paranormal, the Fortean topics, the unusual, the bizarre, and hearing something like that is incredibly humbling because there never will be another Art Bell. There's no way, but it's just great to be being able to walk that same path, and that he blazed for all of us is just a real honor in and of itself. But thank you. That's very, very cool. Very cool. It's amazing. So anyway, Don, how you doing?
Good. Apparently there is a shop big toe hats from Pitt, but they're not really toe hats. So anyhow, I'm doing good. Yeah.
And Maggie always forgets to say hi to me. Whatever. I'm over it.
So yeah.
It's okay, Maggie. Don't worry about it. We know that you're all here and you're all part of the family, and it's great to see you all. Jake's in here too. Ethan's in here. Maggie.
Hey, Ethan. Yeah.
And Chris in real life is here. How you doing? Good to see you, Chris. Thanks for stopping in and being a part of the adventure. And when I say adventure, I really mean that because we never really know what's going to happen on any given show, but we blaze ahead in pursuit of our passion. Aussie Tiger's here as well, Don.
Hey, haven't seen him in a while.
I know. Well, it's good to see him pop up every once in a while. He's been a long-time friend of the show as well.
Yep.
So, let's see. I guess I'd be remiss in my duties if I didn't thank the sponsor.
Yo.
And the Paranormal Portal, of course, is brought to you in part by Cryptid Coin, ladies and gentlemen. And Cryptid Coin is a newer cryptocurrency that has its focus, its heart, its mission built into the cryptid research and investigation. Excuse me. I might have swallowed a hairball there, but we are absolutely honored to be involved with that and have them be a sponsor of the Paranormal Portal. And if you want more information, go check it out on cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io. And see if it's something you want to get involved in. But it's really cool. We are absolutely thrilled to have them as part of the team helping to sponsor the Paranormal Portal. So special thank you to Cryptid Coin for all that you've done. And check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Again, cryptidcoin.io is where you can find out more information. So back to the program. Don.
Yes.
What do you think?
I try not to. It creates too many, unreasonable expectations of me.
That's probably true. And that grinding noise is really hard to deal with, too.
Yeah, especially when it's inside my head.
Change the hamster, is all I'm saying. No, I'm just kidding. How would you like to do some news, though? Should we do the news? Let's do the news. Before we get too far, though, we're going to do the news as let me see this. Where the hell is it? Wait a minute. Where is it? Dang it.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Come on. This is not fair. It's not good.
Oh, I don't set your computer up.
Oh, here it is. All right. This is the Wednesday news opener, ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of our good friend, Mr. Wes Germer.
Never heard of her.
Never. Let's get to it.
Just in, police officers in Lancaster, Pennsylvania were asking people to be on the lookout for a man who robbed a store. And I think we do have his description. Can we take that? Let's take his description. Okay, this is the guy they wanted people in Pennsylvania to be out on the lookout for. He's got a nose and some hair that goes like that, and he was wearing a hat at the time of this particular crime. It's got kind of a chin that comes down to almost a point. Stands about 5 feet 4.
It just went away. That just got fixed. We walked out of the trailer at some point. My dog stepped on a bee. We went to the vet.
Chaos unfolded. Giant hornets flew into the truck. I jumped across the passenger seat out of the truck. We all bailed.
But ladies and gentlemen, let's get to some news and find out what's going on in the world of the news. The news.
Johnny's spot. Oh.
No sound.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to re-push buttons, don't I? I was telling Don, because he's the only one apparently that heard me, when we're doing those things, it's never any personal attack at anyone. It's, I got a message on YouTube that somebody was unhappy about the Amber Heard part, and it's never our scope or goal to go out of our way to put people down and stuff. That was more a commentary on it just being such a media circus. And that's why it was in there. It's not to attack her directly, although, it's just tongue-in-cheek fun, just parodying all news and all of the news circus that's going on. So that's the spirit of that. So if that offended you, just understand it was never our intent, but it is a hilarious piece. And a special tip of the hat to Mr. Tony Merkel, who did escape all those hornets and wasps, yes, and is still with us today. So we're really pleased about that.
I swear somewhere on there it said homeless hero. I swear it.
I think it says hometown heroes.
Oh,
or
is
something.
that what it
Celebrating
says?
Hometown heroes.
For some reason,
I think it's what it said.
Homeless heroes.
Not homeless heroes. And of course, Mr. Merkel and his family are happily settled now in Tennessee, and it sounds like things are going cool there.
Excellent.
So anyway, let's get to the news as we've come to love here on the Paranormal Portal. And first off,
I read something. Sorry,
what?
I read something. You know how you go to Google, right? And you type in net worth of, right?
Oh, sure.
And you type in, so somebody did that, posted on Facebook, and said net worth of Amber Heard negative $6 million. I'm like, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm actually in better financial shape than she is, which is absolutely shocking.
I'm
ladies
plus
and gentlemen.
$5. Like,
The
good deal.
$250 I got in my pocket puts me way ahead.
Got a jingle in my pocket.
$2.50 just for the record, not 250. But yeah, I mean it's not easy. There's a lot of litigation is tough and
That's true, yeah.
Again, but I got some news for you guys, and I'm really excited to share it with you. And our first article tonight is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is UFO hacker Gary McKinnon shares what he found. And of course, this is a big scuttlebutt. If you're not familiar with who Gary McKinnon was, he was wasn't he with the Navy or something, or it was with the government somehow, and ended up hacking NASA and some government programs, or was he just a computer hacker? I don't remember if he was actually a government guy or not. Maybe it comes up in the article.
He was accused. No, he was just a systems admin.
Oh, okay.
But he was a hacker.
But he found out some incredible information, like non-human entities and stuff like that, files like that, and off-world, apparently off-world programs that were going on that he uncovered. So let's see what this says, because this is very interesting. It says the 56-year-old male made headline news in the early 2000s after he was caught hacking into U.S. government computers. McKinnon, who suffers from Asperger's syndrome, became the focus of a transatlantic legal battle when he was caught hacking into NASA files in an effort to find evidence of UFOs. At the time, the U.S. had wanted to extradite him from the U.K. to face trial for his crimes, a move which would have likely seen him sentenced to as much as 70 years in prison. After a great deal of legal wrangling, however, the extradition order was blocked by the UK. These days, McKinnon keeps low profile. However, he does still speak out about what had happened, and in particular, exactly what it was he found while browsing through sensitive government files. Speaking to The Sun recently, he described finding thousands of images, including one of a mysterious cigar-shaped alien spacecraft. And it's a fact that there are objects we don't understand flying around in our skies, and it's also a fact that they are scientific, intelligence, and military departments that study these objects, he said. I was absolutely gobsmacked, and those folders had thousands more images. Due to his slow internet connection, however, he was unable to download them all. Wow, that's it's much more time efficient to hack nowadays than it was during dial-up.
Right.
Do you remember that handshake?
Oh God.
I used to love that sound. I was like, yes, I'm getting on the internet, and
right.
And it was just cool.
1990 style.
Oh man.
88, 89.
Yeah, brother. I was in there, man. I was at 56K cooking, and I was on cloud 9. And I had a great time. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I never did any hacking on the record, but
on the record. Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say. But I certainly was not on this level anyway.
You know, I got in trouble. I did something stupid one time. Remember the game. It wasn't Oregon Trail, dang it. It was like Taipei or something like that. Anyhow.
Or it was Carmen San Diego.
Well, no, it was back on the 5 1/4 floppy days.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I kind of hacked that and sent it to Apple, and they told me to stop doing it.
Okay. Well, that'll learn you.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're upfront about it.
Well, you know.
So what else did he see? I don't know, but there's going to be, I'm sure, more. If he's doing interviews about this, maybe there's even more information in that article from the LAD Bible. But it'd be interesting to see. I know he apparently stumbled across records of non-biological entities and off-world programs and stuff like that. So there's apparently a lot was going on. And, good thing that the UK blocked it, because, I think do I condone hacking? No, but I think sometimes
The ends justify the means.
Yeah, it's the only way that any information is going to get out there is by people taking it upon themselves. And I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of torn on the subject. We don't advocate any of that. No, of course not. No. We don't want any of you guys like trying your hand at it and getting in trouble and losing your life.
One time on the Paranormal Portal, these guys.
Yeah, they're advocating hacking. No. No, we're not. For sure, we're not. But anyway, it's an interesting story, and it's certainly one of the pillars of UFO research for decades. And it'd be interesting to have a chance to talk to the guy, see what else he found. But anyway, maybe we'll have to look into that to see if that's possible. But let's go to the next one. If you're ready for more news, we got more news.
Keep going.
We got some more, and I got the next one here. Here's an interesting one, and I don't know. Seems to be more of a relic of an ancient past, but for most people. But there was a time in the world where curses were huge, like, and perhaps they are still a very powerful practice in some cultures and beliefs.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, but unexplained-mysteries.com brings us the next article, which is 1,800-year-old curse unearthed at necropolis in Israel. It says a grave marker inscribed with a curse in red lettering was found during a conservation work at Beit Sharim Park. Dating back 1,800 years, the inscribed text was seemingly written by the grave's occupant, a 60-year-old Judaism convert named Jacob, warning others not to disturb the burial after his death. Oops. Oops. The discovery, which was published this month by the University of Haifa and the Israeli Antiquities Authority, was made at the Jewish Beit Sharim Cemetery last year. The inscription, along with another found on a wall nearby, were the first to be identified in the necropolis in 65 years. Jacob Iokobos, okay, the convert, swears upon himself that any who open this grave, will be cursed. It reads, beneath the inscription is a thick red line under which someone else wrote, aged 60. At the time, it wasn't that unusual for someone to write their own grave marker prior to death. I'm sure he prepared his stones before he died, said Professor Jonathan Bryce of Tel Aviv University, who was responsible for deciphering the inscription. Whether he wrote with his hand or not, we can't know. So there you go. That's what an ancient curse looks like, at least an ancient Israeli curse. But hopefully everybody's okay. Might want to get a little blessing here and there just to make sure. That's kind of creepy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's creepy, yeah.
Creepy stuff, folks.
1,800 years old. Geez, that was just after Christ, for that matter.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I guess. So anyway, let's move to the next one. I wonder what he converted from and to. He converted to Judaism, but what did he convert from?
1,800 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of curious. Was he some sort of pagan before that, or what?
Well, there's not much before Judaism and Christianity.
Well, I mean, the Romans were definitely into the pantheon. That was basically the Greek pantheon.
That was pagan.
Well, yeah, right. But that's what I'm saying.
That's all pagan.
Right. Next up is another article. And this is kind of sad. I think this one's kind of sad because this has been a program for a long time, and I know that a lot of viruses are written off of this program, which was called SETI at Home. And it basically, what it was is you download a little functional program that would only use your computer's basically standby cycles. When nothing was happening, if your computer was on, it could start receiving data and processing it from the SETI telescope arrays, radio telescopes, and start looking at a lot of the huge amounts of information that was being gleaned by these radio telescopes. And so what this one is according to unexplained-mysteries.com, large amounts of SETI data could soon be lost forever.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? Data collected during the early days of SETI at Home project is now at risk of being lost. While these days distributed computing systems are nothing unusual, back in 1999 when researchers at the University of California, Berkeley launched the SETI at Home project to analyze astronomical data for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence, it was something truly unique and special. Anyone with an internet connection was able to download special software and take part in the endeavor by allowing their computer's spare processing power to work through the SETI data. The project quickly gained a loyal following, and with tens of thousands of people taking part. I actually had signed up for that. Too. Sadly, though, all good things must come to an end, and the crowdsourced computing aspect of the project has been on indefinite hiatus since 2020. It also turns out that much of the data collected during the early 2000s is now stored in obsolete formats and on server hardware that became defunct and unsupported years ago. This means that there is a very real possibility that it could be lost forever. These machines are no longer made by a company that no longer exists and are running on an operating system that no longer exists, Program Director Eric Corpella told Motherboard. They served admirably for a decade or more. I think it's kind of sad if they just fade into history without some evidence that they were there. We run through things so fast and they get lost unless we make a direct effort to save them.
True.
And basically that distributed program became basically, I think, the backbone for what, like distributed denial of service attacks now. That was kind of the template to have all these robots, basically drone computers out there that would attack all at once on a given target. So, yeah, distributed denial of service is no joke. It's brought down tons of sites on the internet. But very interesting all the same, and kind of sad that maybe some of that SETI will be lost, some of that data. Now, it is just radio telescope data, but still, maybe there's other wow signals out there just waiting to be found.
We just haven't found, and
right,
and it's sitting in that that ancient archive.
Right. Yeah. You think? I mean, if it's just on drives, couldn't they just? It's all on a file system, so couldn't they just export the discs? Well,
yeah, I would imagine they can, but I mean, if it's sitting on an NT server from 1995. There's nothing that'll run NT that old of an NT. Not even Windows 11 will do it. So I mean,
well, it's either FAT32 or NTFS for the file system.
And FAT32s are obsolete as well.
Sure, but I think they can still be read.
Well,
I would hope.
I'm sure that somebody could write a frickin' program that could figure it out.
Maybe it could be done.
Yeah, we're so far past that. We just leave that in the ancient past.
What's on Netflix? Forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just watch it on Netflix.
New episodes of Stranger Things are out there. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's more episodes of Strange Things out there.
Yeah, stranger things. All right, let's go to the next one, folks. And the next article on our roster of fun here is, this one's kind of interesting, and I've heard this theory before. I think it bears merit. I've heard it more in tune with meteorites and asteroids being used, but this is kind of interesting that aliens could use rogue planets as spaceships. So could they just travel through the cosmos on these rogue planets? What an interesting thought.
Well, wouldn't you think that maybe, Nibiru is a rogue planet?
Yes, I would. So. And I think that the Anunnaki are definitely using it as a spacecraft. A new study has suggested that extraterrestrials could hitch a ride across the cosmos on a rogue extrasolar worlds. Traveling vast distances through space represents a major technological challenge for any civilization advanced enough to be capable of leaving its home planet. Yet, there actually exists a freely available means with which to travel to the stars, which is typically overlooked. The problem is that it takes, tens of thousands or more light years to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's just traveling at the speed of a planet. Rogue planets are worlds which usually through some sort of destructive event have been thrust out of their solar system and travel freely through interstellar void. So what if it were possible to hitch a ride on one? According to a new study by astrophysicist Irina, name right here.
Okay.
Romanovskaya of Houston Community College. A rogue planet could offer many advantages over a spacecraft, such as being a self-contained environment with the lack of any need for artificial gravity and potentially for a civilization to actually thrive there for generations until the planet reaches the solar system with a more habitable world in it. Such a method of travel would still require space flight technology because there would be no other way to get on and off the planet. However, it would make long-distance travel a lot easier. Romanovskaya also suggests that some free-roaming planets that have since been captured by the gravity of other solar systems could be home to intriguing extraterrestrial artifacts. If a free-floating planet carrying extraterrestrial species or their technologies were gravitationally captured by a planetary system with the help of extraterrestrial technologies, then the captured free-floating planet would keep interstellar travelers on their artifacts, he wrote. Therefore, extraterrestrial artifacts might exist on some captured free-floating planet residing as wide orbit planets in the outer region of the planetary systems. Wow. That was a lot of big words, Don.
It was. You know, there's a movie, I can't remember what the heck it was called. It was one of these cheap Chinese or Korean movies about the Earth going to hell. And the sun was
Was it a documentary?
The sun was going to explode.
Oh.
And so they decided that on one side of the planet they were going to install these giant like engines.
Engines, yeah.
And they would fly to the nearest star and reposition inside the Goldilocks, and it was just stupid. So talking about rogue planets, I mean, these guys, that's how they're moving. They've got these giant engines that, yeah.
I mean, it could happen. I don't know. Now, the interesting thing is that there is actually, I think, Cherokee legends of a time before the moon was here. And there's at least reasonable evidence to suggest that the moon might actually be older than the Earth.
Right.
By several million years old or a couple million years.
Because it's not native.
Right. And certainly our moon is not normal in either its orbit or the size of the moon. Because, our moon is way bigger than normal moons are to their host planets. So there's a lot of suggestions that our moon might have come from somewhere else. It's tidal locked.
It doesn't move at all. It just rotates around. It's always facing the Earth.
Yeah.
The same face faces the Earth all the time.
Right.
That's kind of not quite right. There's no spin to it.
Yeah, it's not rotating at all.
Yeah, and so but it's tidal locked. So how that seems like a cheesy answer to me. Well, why doesn't the moon move? Well, it's tidal locked. What the hell does that mean?
That means the oceans are holding it.
So, I mean, but all the large planets in our solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune all have moons.
Right.
And they all move kind of independently.
Mm-hmm.
What makes ours different?
Right. There you go. That's the rub right there. So is our moon potentially a spacecraft? Well, there's some people that believe it's hollow.
Yeah, you think?
It rang like a bell when they dropped an engine on it from one of the Apollo missions, right?
There's no sound in space. How did it ring like a bell?
Well, they could detect they could detect the vibrations, right?
So they said it rang like a bell.
Right.
It was quotes.
It was vibrating for a long time after that that
what
dropped.
With me with too many Red Bulls.
That's me on taco night.
Well, that's rumbling.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's, it's basically magma disruptions, maybe.
Excuse me while I go do an exorcism.
Yeah, let me tell you, I've taken care of a few demons in my day. But yeah. So I don't know. What do you think, baby? I mean, if you were going to build a spaceship, it would have to be durable. It would have to be able to withstand the rigors of space and travel. And I guess a planet's just about as good a thing. I can't imagine it's an efficient way to travel. And how would you put an engine on that? How big would that engine have to be? That would have to be a huge engine.
Well, if we properly calculate our slingshot past around the local star.
Yeah, we'll slingshot and we'll go. Maybe so, folks, but interestingly enough, that's a new theory on the board. Maybe it's an old theory. Again, I've heard this theory before, but it mostly had to do with meteorites or asteroids being used as basically the hull of a spacecraft,
right?
And then mounting tools and things on it. But a whole planet, I don't know. I guess there is merit to that it would keep you going. I don't know.
As long as you could keep everything alive with the atmosphere.
That's the other thing, and probably not a lot of photosynthesis or anything going on because they're too far from a star.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe they'd just be ice planets drifting out there, but maybe below the surface. Who knows?
Well, if we could get those hydrogen motors working.
Hydrogen motors, yeah.
Yeah, because then you just take the ice and use the ice as propellant.
Fuel. All right, folks, but that's a new take on space travel. Something to consider as we're moving into the future and all. Let's get to the next one, and this one is interesting. It is a UFO story, Don.
A UFO story?
We love UFO stories.
Oh, my goodness, we do.
Yeah. And let's see, what is this one? If I can drag it into place here. There we go. This one is from unexplained-mysteries.com. UFO shows up during Queen's Jubilee celebrations.
Yeah, well, they weren't going to abduct her. Hopefully, they're going to take her home.
Oh, jeez. There's a picture right there showing some orb. The red arrow gives it away. Yeah, I don't think that was there at the time.
They're flying red, white, and blue.
Yeah, isn't that neat? There you go. They're celebrating us. UFO shows up during Queen's Jubilee celebrations. An unidentified object was picked up on camera during this weekend's celebrations of the Platinum Jubilee. As the UK united in celebration of Queen Elizabeth and its 70... Was that you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And it's 70 years on the throne. Queen Elizabeth, it's not it. It's number 2's seconds. 70 years on the throne, sorry. Eagle-eyed viewers of the Jubilee celebration spotted something unusual in the TV coverage of the event. The anomalous sighting occurred following a fly past of several historic aircraft, just as the red arrows came into view, leaving a trail of red, white, and blue smoke behind them. Okay, so these are the red arrows. Got it. Right. All right. I was thinking they were talking about this. I'm like, what? That wasn't really there. There's another red arrow. I don't know. It threw me, Don. I'm telling you. Let's see. Televised footage shows a white object which first appears at the right of the jets, moving at considerable speed across the smoke towards the left in a relatively straight line. The object exhibits no discernible features and doesn't appear to be an aircraft. It's also moving too quickly to be a drone. The footage has generated quite a bit of interest online and left social media users speculating over what the mysterious object could be. You can check out the video for yourself below. Well, let's do that. If this works. It looks like it'll work. This is by Gone Freaks, Freekss, or at Marty, 2Ys, 3Ys Mar. Let's check it out. See what's going on here. And Wow. That's really kind of impressive. That does look like the orb craft that so many people report. You want to see it again?
Yeah.
Let's see it again. Let me make it bigger and put it up in full screen mode for all of you out there to check out. And I think I'm going to kill the sound though, because that's enormous. That's quite loud, actually. All right, let's check it out.
Nice.
Here it comes, and there's the it's drifting
right over it.
Right over it. Look at that thing going. It does look luminescent though, doesn't it? It doesn't just look like a Mylar balloon kind of look. It's does look like it's emitting a light of some kind, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good catch.
Crazy.
I think it really could be the real deal. I don't know. Again, is this unusual, or are we just getting better at catching this stuff? Well, I think it's kind of twofold. First of all, the cameras are so much sharper now.
Right.
And whereas this might have been lost in pixelation on an older generation, maybe this stuff's been happening all the time, but now we have cameras that are able to
actually
pick up that level of detail.
Define it,
yeah, and make it a definable shape. So one more time, there it goes, boom. It's cruising, yeah.
Wait, play it one more time.
Sure, one more time. The red arrow shows you where to look. And it's kind of doing it.
I thought it looked like it jumped as it was coming out of that blue.
Oh, I don't know. Let me look at it again. I didn't see that before. It looks like it's a pretty clean trajectory.
Maybe it was just the way the smoke lines were going that made it look like it kind of jumped up a little bit.
Well, I think it's very interesting, folks. Could it be? Yeah, it could be. That might be the real deal and caught right on TV as during the Queen's Jubilee. That's really amazing. I'm telling you what, even
the Queen with her cherry jubilees.
Yeah.
Probably pretty.
Oh no! Don't do that. Don't do that.
What? Talk about the Queen being schnockered?
I didn't know. I didn't know where you
switched the wrong screens.
Yeah, just for a second. I press buttons all the time over here. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. All right, we got a couple more stories to go here
All right.
tonight, and then we'll be done with the news. It's been a little longer, but when we come back on these Wednesdays, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
All right, so here's the next one from unexplained-mysteries.com. Man ends up in hospital after fish jumps down his throat.
How the hell did that happen?
What do I do? This one, I guess. I'm thinking, which button do I push?
No.
Or this one.
Now you should, yeah.
Boy, I have a hankering for some fish. Ooh. Thank you. Thank you very much. Honey, pass me the fish. Sorry.
Hold on, sweetie. I know the Heimlich maneuver.
Oh, dear God. Jeez. No, thanks. I'm better. I go better. All right. So this is a fish jumped down some dude's throat. Oh, my God. Look at that. It's got spikes and everything. That's a one-way trip right there. I'm telling you.
Is.
Oh, it said a man who has been out fishing in Thailand almost died
Thailand, okay.
after a fish jumped out of the water and into his mouth. Whoa. What are the odds? I mean, what are the odds of that one happening?
Sounds fishy to me.
In what can only be described as a freak accident, the unfortunate angler had been spike fishing. Yeah, looks like the fish caught on.
Looks like the spike spiked him. Or the fish spiked him, yeah.
In Thailand's Phuthallung province, when a spiky anabas fish jumped out of the water into his mouth and down his throat, where it initially became wedged behind his nasal cavity.
Wow.
Oh, dear God. It's hard to imagine the sense of panic that must have gripped him when the fish then made its way down into his windpipe where it got stuck once again, restricting his ability to breathe. Oh, this poor man. The man was rushed to the hospital where doctors took x-rays to determine exactly where the fish had ended up.
Oh, wow.
As luck would have it, they were able to successfully locate and surgically remove the creature. The chances of this happening are very low. Good. Yeah, I'm glad this isn't a new attack.
I was attacked by a fish.
Yeah, it's happening all the time, said hospital officer, this guy. And I have never seen this kind of case before. Yeah, I don't think anybody has.
How big is that fish?
I don't know. It's got to be small enough to get into a windpipe, though.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's not exactly like, a large. It's a large trout.
It's like, I guess the fish were retaliating. They'd had enough.
It's not like that movie. What was the movie with Marky Mark in it? The plants were.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know the one you're talking about.
I know the name of the movie.
Knowing or something like that.
Yeah.
No, that's the Nicolas Cage one.
Cage, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Where the plants are all of a sudden emitting poison.
Yes.
Killing people in droves.
Rachel asked, was the victim a Pisces?
You get a rim shot for that one. That's clever. I don't know, man.
It's right next to the hind leg.
I think I would,
happening. Yes, thank you.
The happening. There you go.
Happening. Yep.
Yep. I think I'd give up fish. This is. I'm no longer a pescatarian. Oh dear God.
Ichthy demon.
Yeah. Nice. Pulling out the Latin. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last news article of the night.
Thank God.
Oh, what do you mean, dude? Isn't this fun? Isn't this fun?
It is fun.
Are you not amused?
Are you not amused?
All right, let's go to this one.
Do I not amuse you?
Unexplained-mysteries.com gives us Cousin It shows up in doorbell camera footage.
Nice.
Another video. And I had to save this one from last week because it was like, I found it on Friday. Can't show them on those days because we're on the network, of course. So this night we can show it. A video clip recorded in a residential backyard shows a strange pint-sized creature covered in hair waddling around. Captured outside the family home in Patch, managing editor Renee Schiavone in Rachel Canyon, Southern California. The intriguing nocturnal footage shows some sort of hairy animal wandering around in the garden on two legs. The clip has since generated debate online, with some likening the mysterious visitor to Cousin It, the hair-covered, gibberish-spewing relative of the Addams family. But could a fictional retro television character really be a viable explanation for such a sighting? What about a puckwudgie?
Yeah.
Now, most likely, the peculiar visitor is actually a skunk doing a handstand, a behavior that usually precedes a customary spray of foul stink. Was it just wandering around in that pose, though? Whatever the case, however, this clip is certainly intriguing. And, by God,
Let's do it.
We're going to watch it because I'm just throwing caution to the wind. This is fair use. We're going to check this out, folks. And let's see what we got here. Let me put it on full screen again. And here we go. This is it. Boom. Let's go big. There is no sound. We're waiting for the little codger to come up. There it is. It's down here. What? That does not look like a skunk doing a handstand. Right?
Oh.
It was so quick, though. We got to play it again.
Really quick. Yeah, definitely.
Here it comes again. It's going to be down in the lower right corner. I don't buy that at all.
Is it a Fresno nightcrawler?
It's just a little bit of it, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see again. I wish somebody had zoomed in and captured that. That does not look like a handstand skunk.
No.
It looks like it's like waddling as it's going.
Domovoy.
Domovoy?
Hairy little bastards.
Oh, no, they're not hairy.
You never know.
They might be, though.
This
That really does look
Domovoy.
like what I imagine a pukwudgie might look like, or
maybe.
something like that. A little people, anyway. Very strange.
Maybe we gotta ask
What's
your
that
friend-
show? Look at that show. Wow.
Who's that?
I know. I'm just telling you, we're all over that. It's tonight's show right now.
Oh, right.
There's 52 of us watching right now,
Well,
Don.
I see 54, but I'll go
You
with
see,
mine.
I like that number better. So there you go, folks. Is that a skunk doing a handstand? I don't think so.
I think we should ask Robin Moonshadow.
Yeah, is she in there? Is she in the
No,
chat?
she's not in here.
Okay. Well, that's a good one to bounce off the possibilities, but it could very well be a little people thing. A little people thing. I don't know what else to call it, folks, but could it be? Maybe it's, yeah, I mean, there it is, the still frame of it right there. I think that's very interesting. Whatever it is, we just don't know. We just don't know. But there it is for your viewing pleasure. I don't think it's a skunk doing a handstand. It's just in and out of frame, but whatever it is, it's very peculiar. It looks like it's a dinky. This is a railing. So, I mean, it's literally a 18-inch tall thing, isn't it? Maybe a foot to 18 inches. Because this is a handrail right here, right?
I don't know what that
I mean, yeah, I guess we don't know what we're looking at here. It could be tinier for all we know. But whatever it is, that doesn't look like a skunk to me. But I tell you what, I'm like Mulder. I want to believe.
I want to believe.
So there you go, folks. This has been the newscast for tonight. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And let's get back to the rest of the program, if you're all so inclined. Here we go. I thought that was cool. Yeah?
I don't know. Well, Ruger says it was a skunk butt.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
I
gotta wonder why it's doing the
teased it a
handstand.
skunk butt, my friend.
I've seen a skunk.
You've had your fair skunk butt, huh?
Yeah, well, I've never been sprayed, but I've seen skunk up close. I had one wander right up to me and like feet away. I was like, nah, you know. But I don't know. Maybe they do the handstand.
No.
It looks skunky. You guys know better than I do. But again, it looked like it was on the up on its hands and walking. If that's the case for quite a few steps.
Those taste funny too.
What?
Skunk.
Oh, they don't smell funny. That's for sure. I don't know, but whatever it is, who knows? Well, thank you. David Barnes said it's a good news segment. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that, brother. And that was the news. We got a lot more of the paranormal goodness you love here on the show. Let's first do some shout outs, Don.
Shout outs, sure.
Yeah, let's
absolutely.
officially talk about who's here.
Yeah, let's do that. So let me get my list up here. So we have
Hortonians.
How's
that going,
aggravated
Don?
progressive. Anthony Nicola. Chris is here. D's here. David Barnes. Dr. Manhattan. Thank you for that comment earlier, by the way.
Yeah.
Dreams here. Hi, Elaine. Geeky Gardens. Ghost Magnet. There's Jake. Jake Fortes right there. Justin Gooder just popped in. Actually, he's probably been lurking because he's been doing that lately.
He's a lurker.
He's a lurker. Maggie M10. Justin Gooder. I already said that. Matthew Learned. Pam Wittes. Is that Wittes?
I think so.
Portal Mom. Hi, Mom. Rachel gets it right. Ruger's here. Farms here. Fourth Color. Vincent Richardson. And Kill Baal. So there you go. There you have it. Barb G. That's a new name. That's a new one I haven't seen. Let's see here. And that's who I see. there you go. Shout outs are done.
Fantastic. Thanks everybody for being here. Did you see farm? Did you say farm?
Yeah, I thought
okay.
I tried to say farm.
Okay, farm's here. Yeah.
Farm's here. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being here, all of you, and those of you who are just kicking back watching, thank you as well. And for those of you that'll watch after it's live, thank you.
Thank you.
Just nothing but love. Yep. Nothing but love, Don.
And High Tide. Sorry, High Tide.
High Tide. How you doing? Good to see you. That's a new name, right? High Tide?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Because it's the one you keep mispronouncing.
What do I usually call it?
I don't know. I can't remember now.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not unusual.
Barb G says, I've been around just quietly. Well, it's
oh,
nice
that's
to
good.
hear. Yeah,
that's fine. You can by all means not chat and just hang out and hang out with the fam. We're all together here.
You're just kind of creepy there lurking in the shadows, though.
You ever download like a free trial of a program and then you use it, and then once the free trial's over, it does nothing but spam you about buying the full version?
No comment.
You have then, yeah. Yeah. I did this one that's supposed to clean up your computer and stuff, and I tried it out. It worked good, but I was like, okay, your work is done. See you later. And it apparently is
5 minutes later. How you doing?
It's petitioning for a new contract, and I'm like, nope.
Can I share the word of our Lord and Savior? No.
Oh, the what did you call it? High Tide? That's High Tide.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the one I always mispronounce. You're right. That's the one. I see it now in the chat. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one I always screw up. The heated what? No, I'm sorry. All right. We got a bunch more to go through here. Oh, farm. Yeah, I have Brent. What?
Downloaded a stupid program.
Oh, okay. He's responding.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry. All these interwebs are so interesting. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I got one of those programs now that just loves to chew my tail and remind me all the time that it wants me to spend money. I'm like, wait, when you were free, you were great. But
now you're not free.
Now you're not free.
Get the hell off this thing.
Just go away now. Go away. I'm done with you. Let's see. I was gonna do no, I'll save that maybe for later. Maybe we'll hit it later. There's a couple of things I want to go through right away. This is an Italian. This is a UFO report from UFO sightings footage.uk. And it's a new site to me. I just stumbled on it and I was like, oh, very cool. So I'm going to be looking through this site for lots more stuff that we can talk about here on the show. But this is some old footage apparently that was finally released or let out from into the wilds of the population. But it's an Italian fighter pilot intercepted UFO, and here's the evidence. So again, this is from UFO sightings footage.uk, and from apparently June 6th of 2022. So it's a pretty new article. And it was the summer of 1979 when Sacconi's, I'm going to brutalize these names just for the record. I just want to say as a preemptive strike, do not learn pronunciation from me, because I'm like,
Stuck on phonics works for me.
I'm like the kid that loves to sing songs but doesn't really know the words, so you just make sounds close to it.
Is it more like
it's
more like bad lip reading when you're with friends.
Yeah, exactly. Except I am actually doing it live. So anyway, so
say umapasap? No, don't matter what you say. I'm not gonna stop. Thank you.
The Italian Air Force pilot was returning to the Treviso Air Base after a reconnaissance mission when the unidentified flying object entered the Italian airspace without being alerted. The Istrana Radar Center then informed the military aircraft interceptor to intercept, which is, I guess, a good name for it since that's what they're doing, and identify the intruder. Pilot Giancarlo Ciccone, I guess, was returning to Treviso Air Force Base, Italy, in his G91R fighter with his G91R Group 14 of the Air Force's 2nd Fighter Wing. After completing a reconnaissance mission on June 18th, 1979 at 11:30 a.m. This is broad daylight. This is midday.
Yeah.
There's actually images that apparently are from this mission. And it looks like the Tic Tac.
It's the original Tic Tac.
Yeah, right? They've been around for a while, apparently.
Tic Tac Type 1.
I'm not sure what this one's supposed to be depicting unless that's it. That circle there might be it. I don't know. But anyway, there's another image.
Well, see, that's okay. So now, see, there's that thing. that you were just talking about, and
This?
the one
Yeah.
above it.
Yeah.
No, the picture above.
Yeah, I know.
That's that piece there. So it looks like it's a badly cropped picture.
Oh, okay. Well, that certainly could be it. But these are the images that were. Is that no? It says when Italian Air Force pilots intercepted an unidentified aircraft over northern Italy. What happened? What did I miss?
Friggin' Wes just walked in. He says, "I tried calling in."
Oh, he did?
Was the person who complained about my news intro named Amber H?
Oh, I don't know. I can look. I'll
Oh, Brent.
oh.
Oh,
What?
Amber H.
I don't think it was though. It might.
What were they complaining about?
No, I know. I got the inference. It's hilarious. I got the inference now. It hit me now. It might have been Amber. I don't know. Wait. Oh. Thank you. You get a rim shot, Wes. Nice job.
Or a Heimlich, your choice.
No, that's your department, brother. You know the maneuver you said.
They call me Mr. Hooper.
Call you Mr. Go Home.
I'm so tired.
So can I continue this? Are we good now?
Yeah, it was Wes's fault. Anyway.
All right. Just blame Wes.
I blame her.
Dang, Wes. All right. I don't know why it's like they keep reopening the article with these little. He was taking photos of the alien craft with his camera fitted into the G-91 air fighter jet. Captain Giancarlo was. Why did they do this? He died in Rome in June 27th, 2014. The incident is significant thanks to the camera footage, radar, and visual evidence from several witnesses, including a highly respected fighter pilot, Lee Lewis, UFO researcher. So it's really weirdly written. I suspect it may not have been, it's from UK, so I don't know. But these are the images that he caught, and I thought that was really interesting and worth mention because they do look like the Tic Tac type of craft that are reported off the coast of California in 2014, right? Isn't that when those were? 2014?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it really does bear that resemblance of a Tic Tac, which I assume is what those look like. So we don't know, obviously, if those are manned or if they're just some kind of drones, but whatever the hell they are, they've been around for a long time because this is 1979, right? Yeah, 1979. So there you have it. I guess it's a much shorter.
It's not very. The one I'm looking at is not very big.
Okay.
So it's not a very big. Yeah, this is Animalian.
Oh, Animalian. Yeah. Yep.
He flew 7 to 8 flights near the object. Each time photographed the UFO with a camera, resulting in 82 frames in which the intruder was captured. The visible UFO was stationary relative to the G91, but the radar center confirmed to Ciccone that it was moving. Its course and speed were determined. The pilot saw a matte black cylindrical object and the presence of a small white or transparent dome located in the upper side of a slightly flattened object. The dome was similar in shape to those found on sports cars. While Ciccone was making another call to return to another series of photographs, the radar called and reported that the object had suddenly disappeared from theirs and other radars.
Wow.
Seconds later, Treviso Tower confirmed that the UFO had visually disappeared. A few minutes later, the plane landed, the film was removed and quickly developed. The object was a cylindrical object no less than 8 meters, 26 feet long, and no more than 3 in diameter, flying 13,000 feet in the sky. The incident is significant thanks to the camera footage, radar, blah, blah, blah. There you go.
Well, there you have it, folks. So this is, I just thought it was really interesting because it does tie in with the more recent Tic Tac videos that were released, and it shows that there is an ongoing precedence of these things being out there. It's not just a modern anomaly. It's apparently they've been here for a long time. So now you got to wonder: are they really extraterrestrial, or are they somehow here, and always have been here? That's the one I love to ponder.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting, yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
All right.
Hi,
So,
Lisa.
oh, hey. Good to see you. Good to see y'all.
She's sending kisses to us.
Now I gotta look and see who made that comment now. so I can let them know. Where is it? Let me look here. Oh yeah. Oh, actually, it was just somebody named M. Yep, and it's got a female picture on it. So apparently M, whoever that was. So nope, it wasn't AH. Although, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh.
That makes sense. Let's get to more of the fun stuff here. There we go. Let me get that up. All right. Sorry, I'm kind of fumbling with all my buttons. I always do that when it comes to Wednesday night after I've had a few days not doing it. It's like, oh yeah, what do I do? How do I do this?
Right.
I got to find my rhythm again, Don. We used to do it every night.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oof. All right. I found an article from Quora. Quora. I guess this is pronounced Quora, right?
Yes, Quora. Yeah.
Quora, yeah. And it's a site out online, and they basically do like question answer kind of stuff, or surveys, or Reddit farms as well. And oftentimes they do paranormal ones. So it's a neat site. I've over the years used Quora many times for the purposes of the show. But let's see, here it is. Okay, the question on this thread is, where would you find supernatural beings? Where would you find the supernatural beings? This one is have you ever actually seen a supernatural entity? So I don't know. This is really kind of bizarrely compiled, but this actual statement comes from a gentleman by the name of Bill Edge, or using the name of. He's a professional caricaturist, illustrator, and author. And he's answered several times to the Quora threads, but he said, this isn't my story, but my late father's, but he was never one to talk BS. And I never heard him say anything that wasn't the truth. He was certainly convinced that what happened was a reality. My dad started life in utter poverty. He ended up as a well-known band leader and successful businessman living in slum housing in Salford, UK. This was the early 1900s. When my dad was about 8 years old, his mom was taken ill and had to take her to her bed, and their 2 up, 2 down terrace house. My dad went upstairs to see her, and as soon as he entered the room, she reached out and put a few coins in his hand. Billy dear, she said, we need milk. Would you get milk? Get the milk can and go get some from the shop. In those days in England, especially in the industrial cities in the north, there were shops literally on almost every street corner. There was a small corner shop a few doors away from my dad's house, which sold everything from milk, you had to provide your own container, to rat traps. My dad took the money and went off to do the errand, and as he reached the bottom of the stairs, he saw standing there his favorite aunt, Doris, a constant visitor. Hello, Billy, she smiled. What are you doing? Mom's a bit poorly, he said, so she asked me to go get some milk for her. Aunt Doris asked him how much money his mom had given him, and when he had opened his hand to show her the coins, she smiled and said, You've enough to get a small loaf of bread too, so I suggest you do it. It'll help your mom feel better. He agreed, and then he continued on his way. Although the shop was only a few houses away, when he got there it was very busy, and since these shops gave people the chance to meet up and gossip, there was no rush for anything, and it was probably some 20 minutes or more before he'd finally bought the bread and milk and could make his way home. When he arrived at his small house, he could hear muffled voices coming from his mom's room, so still carrying the bread and milk, he went upstairs to see what was going on. As he entered the room, he was surprised to see his mom surrounded by several friends and neighbors who were comforting her. She was sat upright and sobbing deeply. My dad became alarmed, thinking his mom had perhaps just been told something bad about her health. But as she caught sight of him, she held out her arms to him. What's the matter, Mom? Asked Dad in concern. Oh, Billy, she cried, I've just had the most awful news. Your Aunt Doris died in her sleep last night, and they only just found her this morning. To his dying day, my dad was convinced he'd seen his dead auntie, even though at the time he never doubted she was real flesh and blood. Wow. I think there was a call, but it disappeared. I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. So if anybody's calling in, try now, because we'll watch closer. These articles are long, and they require my full attention to read them well. And so I apologize. Love you too, 12 Pearls. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. Nice to see you coming back. But interesting story. So that's a full apparition. That's a full-on manifestation, and that's really kind of curious. You got to ask yourself, do you think in the course of your life, Don, is it possible you have met and maybe interacted with somebody that wasn't really there?
I don't see why that wouldn't be possible.
Right.
And it doesn't surprise me that, I'm the kind of person that didn't even notice. So, I mean, yeah, it could. I could have very well have had an experience that I would have never thought happened. But there you go. Yeah, I think it's possible.
I think so too. I think so too.
I mean, there are deeper mysteries than that, I'm sure.
But it is kind of curious. Or on the inverse of that, let's say, is it possible you've met an extraterrestrial that appeared like a human? And I wonder about that one too, because sometimes you meet people that have almost no social consciousness at all.
Right,
they literally just walk like automatons and hey, how you doing? Have a nice day. And they just
their social blurs.
Right.
Like, what the hell was that?
Like they don't know exactly what to do, so they just keep going, And I wondered, is it possible that person is just an alien? Maybe.
I wonder that now since I'm an adult.
Yeah, exactly. I would have never considered it when I was a kid. I just figured some people hated kids. But,
exactly. Yeah.
But that's very interesting. So we're going to go to another one of these stories, and this is by Shreya Rai, and this is, have you ever seen a supernatural entity? This one is no, but I experienced something weird 2 years ago when I checked into a new hotel just on the outskirts of the city. It was a business trip, and my colleague was staying the night next to my room. It was cold and windy, and I was feeling a little under the weather, so I called it a night early. I had a dream which felt quite real, where a group of people surrounded me and were watching me sleep. They were telling me not to take my hand out of the blanket, as the snake might get a chance to bite me. At that time, I took my hand out of the blanket for real, and I felt something move under the blanket. I thought it was my boyfriend moving, so I tried to not think about too much, but then it struck me that I was alone.
Yeah.
This was a business trip. I was alarmed and scared, but could not open my eyes. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to open my eyes and put my hand back under the blanket to see what was moving inside, but I could not do any of it. And so that's when the thing inside the blanket started to move a lot. Ooh. Oh, God, that would be horrible. I mustered up some courage and opened my eyes and lifted the blanket. No one or nothing was there. I was a little relieved that I left the bedside lamp on nonetheless. I was petrified. I then sat right up on my bed and looked around the room, and nobody was there. I was scared and puzzled. My bed was parallel to the bathroom, encased in glass walls. On the other side of the bed was the window. So when I looked at the glass, I thought I saw a woman floating near the window. I couldn't believe my eyes, but I also didn't want to turn around to see if it was real or just my imagination. I stared at the image for like 5 minutes straight, and for 5 minutes the image was still there. I tried to console myself in thinking it was just some kind of optical illusion. I was still scared and not convinced a little bit. Then there was a knock at the door. My heart dropped. I wanted this to be a bad dream and not reality. The knock on the door was persistent, and at that point I decided to call my colleague, but instead he called me. I picked up and he said he was outside my room, and I was relieved, and without looking towards the window, I went to the door and let him in. He asked me if everything was all right, and I lied to him and asked why he came to my room in the middle of the night, and he said that he heard someone call his name and came out of his room to see who it was. There was no one, and he thought I was in trouble, and I was the one who called him. I told him that he might have had a dream, and let him go. I closed the door and looked at the window, and there was no one there. I got into bed, locked the glass wall of the bathroom, and I didn't see looked at the glass wall of the bathroom, and I didn't see the reflection of the woman floating near the window anymore. I turned on all the lights in the room and the TV, didn't sleep the rest of the night.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that's the tough part. That's the tough part. If you're staying in a hotel, I mean, you're kind of stuck there. So if something really goes south like that, where else are you going to go? Sit in a car? So what would you do? Would you check out? You would?
Yeah, I'd probably, or at least move rooms, I'm not sure, but...
oh, sure. You could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to move rooms away.
Is there something wrong with your room? Yes, a skunk just walked in. I thought it was Cousin It.
He was doing a handstand.
He was doing a handstand. The only reason I knew it was a skunk is because he had a stripe. It was Louis Lepuus.
Yeah, right.
Louis Lepuus. Anyhow, but there you go. Yeah, definitely. I definitely asked him to move rooms.
Yeah. Well, there's that. I didn't even consider that. I've never even considered that. No matter what's going on, it's like, well, that sucks. Try to go back to sleep. But I've never been in a situation like that. Yeah, I don't know. I would never think, hey, wonder you could. I hear about that all the time, though. People get other rooms, and it's like, well, that's probably a good reason to get a new room. But what if the next room's worse? Because the whole place is all haunted.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to the next one, and this is by Alan Allen. Said something happened around where I live some time ago. The man was married with 3 kids, and it dawned on him his wife has never taken him to her hometown to meet her family, and so after much persuasion, she agreed to take him there. On getting to the village, they had to take motorcycles, and so her husband was on a different motorcycle, and the kids were on a different ones. And she described the place for the motorcycle riders to take them to her family, since she wants to buy some groceries she would use to cook that evening. When the man arrived and met a woman at the place, he introduced himself as Ada's husband in the city, only to find out that Ada was the woman's first daughter and had died 5 years ago. They waited, and Ada never came. He came back to the city, and all of Ada's things were no longer in the house. And that's one of the greatest mysteries I've known till date.
Huh.
So that sounds kind of more like a legendary story.
Yeah.
I mean, there's if that much stuff happened and this woman didn't actually exist, and where did the kids go?
Right.
Wasn't there kids too, right?
Yeah.
Did the kids disappear as well? I don't know. That one sounds much more like a legendary tale or yarn.
Right.
I don't know, but it's probably cultural. So the next one is from Katarina Johnston, who actually answered the same question. She said, my family was driving home from my sister's Thanksgiving in 2009. On the driver's side was my ex-husband. Behind him was my son. I was in the passenger seat. My ex-mother-in-law was in the middle back seat, and my daughter was in the back seat behind me. We're driving along Route 50 just before Easton, Maryland, when my son screams from the back seat, and my husband yells, oh, God. Well, it's not what he yelled, but anyway, I don't cuss on the show. So loud and violently swerves the car across 2 lanes. Luckily for us, it was about midnight and no one else was on the road. He jumps out, or my son is upset, screaming, I think we hit him, all panicky and screaming. Did you see him? Did you see him? The rest of us were like, hit who? My husband jumps out without saying a word, looking for a body, and there's nothing. They see what looked like a lightning flash, and a man's face suspended in fear, wearing a gray hoodie, was pressed against both driver's side windows, but he was lit up enough to see his features. I was actually looking over that way, but didn't see anything. Both of them instantaneously screamed and reacted at the same time. Both had seen the exact same thing. My son told us without my husband being present in the car, and my husband told us what he saw when he got back in the car. I didn't witness it, but to this day my son still talks about the man's face, saying he had never seen someone look so distraught and in pain, and was certain at the time that he was being killed. Another one I'm embarrassed to admit I've seen, but I may have mentioned it before, a floating head. It was late. My ex-husband and kids were in bed, and I was putting a what?
A beef joint.
What's a beef joint?
A shoulder joint.
Oh, okay. A beef.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
It's like a shoulder. It's like a shoulder, shoulder roast.
Is it like a big blunt or something? What's a beef joint? Beef joint on in the slow cooker. I was hearing creaks and noises, and suspected the kids were running around. I called out to them, saying they better get in bed, but without success. I had a nagging feeling I was being watched. I could look out my dining room, see the front door, and had a coat rack with my husband's dark work jackets on it. Out of the corner of my eye toward the bottom of those coats, I could see something white, so I turned my head. A couple of feet from the ground, no body, Attached was a very pale man's head. Oh, that's horrible. That's just a horrible thing to see. He was balding and his eyes were piercing. We locked eyes for a second, but it felt like an eternity. I dropped my glass lid to the slow cooker on the floor and ran out the back door in the kitchen. My head wasn't too far. The head wasn't too far from the upstairs steps, and I was not going to run anywhere near it. I fumbled my cell phone and called my ex-husband upstairs to walk me in. I didn't want to peek back in case the head was still there. The head had a striking resemblance to my husband's father that passed away when he was a kid, who I seen only in pictures, except it was so white and creepy. I had no idea what led me to see that, but it took a long time being alone and comfortable in the house to be alone and comfortable in the house. Yeah, floating heads are not something we're generally accustomed to dealing with.
I think so.
Yeah, that's weird. And that guy's kind of a dick for doing that, you know? Like, you got to think he had to have known how this is going to be perceived. If he's indeed an intelligent, conscious entity. It's like, well, I'm just going to float my head down by the floor. Like, how is that going to go over? Not good.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's not even fair, man. Still no calls. Okay. I don't know.
Yes. Use the Aztec death whistle every time.
What?
It gets rid of Karens. You would not believe. It is so nice.
Is it Karen repellent?
Run away with their.
You've heard those, right?
Cut. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With their forward cut bobs. It is
I'd love to get a hold of one of those, but
yeah.
I mean, what are they used for? Are they actually like a cleansing thing?
They use them for, let me look it up, but they are part of.
It sounds like it's such a horrible sound is what I think I've heard them. I don't recall for sure, but I think I have. Aren't they a horrible sound?
They are. They sound like the dead. They do.
Oh, nice. Okay. Aztec death whistles. Wow. The things you come up with on these shows, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right. Did you find it?
See, death whistle next. Whistle used by Aztecs for ceremonies. Hold on a sec.
I want to see if we can play a sound of a death whistle.
Oh, yeah, here. No problem. Here we go.
I want to show you this. I want to share with you this. And also they use when they have a war, when they fight with other tribes. They play over 100 instruments, 100 dead whistles, marching to.
Is he going to play it?
I hope so.
And it's very unique.
There's a lot of talking. Oh, dear God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming through well. Sounds like women screaming.
It does. Yeah. It sounds like somebody screaming.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. That's plenty.
I think we should integrate that into some faction of our the video montages somewhere.
Sure. Put in the Aztec death whistle.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not? I mean, it sounds like it'd fit perfect with anything in this show, even the intro.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
yeah,
I can.
please.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All
I
right.
can't believe that worked so well.
Aztec death whistle. Wow. Yeah. What a discovery.
Sounds like an old girlfriend. Yes, I am. Yep, had a couple of those.
That's just
They
not
are
even right.
Karen repellent.
Okay, well, here we go. We're going to go to the next one. This is written by Sheena Key, and she's seen one apparently too, and she says, yes, I was in the medical profession for at least 20 years. I was working in a hospital on third shift, and a lady had been brought in by her son. She was having incontinence issues. I worked from, 11 to 7 a.m. And a couple of days after she was admitted, I came in and we were getting a report, and I was drinking coffee and half-heartedly listened to the report. I was looking directly at the hall right in front of me, and I saw this lady walk across the hall and into the large shower room. She had on her pink and white flowered robe and slippers. The supervisor of the nursing department was on the floor, and she announced to all of us that the lady who I just saw had just passed away that morning
Wow.
at breakfast, right after my shift ended. I said they made a mistake. They must have confused the names because I just saw this lady walk across the hall. I got into an argument with my supervisor, so to appease me, she took me to the ladies' room, and the bed had been stripped down, and all of her personal effects were gone. I walked into the shower room, and of course, nobody was there. I spent most of the night looking for the woman before my supervisor left. She said nobody was to discuss this with any other people that weren't on the floor. I found out that most of the hospital was haunted. Others had seen things too. I worked there for over 4 years, always on third shift. Then I started working with the mentally and physically handicapped as a project director, and I was in charge of the group homes. After Pennhurst Institution started closing, hope I answered your question. God bless you and keep you safe always.
Wow. It's interesting. The entire floor saw it. The whole staff for that floor saw it happen. And the supervisor was so unnerved about it, and not admittedly so unnerved about it, she had to announce to everybody,
right,
that lady died this morning. You didn't even, she died right after you left. You had no clue.
Yep.
But everybody saw it. Apparently.
Everybody
and
saw
the
it.
supervisor was like, no.
Nope. All right.
We're shutting that down now.
That's all done. All right, we're going to go into a Ranker article here, and this is one we've covered, and we're going to clean it up tonight, finish it up, but there's just a little bit left of this one. This is Unexplainable Unsolved Encounters, and so this was written by Alyssa Mariano on the Ranker. It's another aggregate article from Reddit, but we're on number 14, I think. I don't know if I actually read this one last time or if this is where we quit, but we'll read it again. It's a short one. It says, I slammed on the brakes and veered into the next lane. This is from Dad's RGR8. Shortly after my wife and I were first married, we were making the Easter Sunday. Both families want you for dinner drive circuit. I was driving from my parents' house to her parents' house, and she had her eyes closed. Suddenly, a peacock ran out of the woods and across the road in front of the car. I slammed on the brakes and veered into the next lane, and my wife yelled, "What the hell?" And I said I almost hit a freaking peacock. I'd never seen a peacock in the wild before. She didn't believe me, LOL. 36 years later, and I still haven't lived that down, and she occasionally reminds me to watch out for peacocks when we're out in the car.
Okay.
Yeah, we did read that one last time, but...
Hey, scroll back up to the name. That says Dads Are Great.
Okay. All right, I'm not a Redditor.
RGRG8.
RGR8. Yep. Dads are great. Okay. Thank you for that.
Oh, come on.
I stand educated. I don't know. I miss a lot of things like that. I don't know if it's because I'm trying too hard or I'm not trying hard enough.
I guess you're just not elitist.
I'm not.
Enough.
I'm not elite. I'm not elite. All right, number 15, right there in the middle. This is one sentence from the one Balsamon. Driving back from work along a little river road, saw a farmer in a boat with a cow in there with him right in the middle of the river. I don't know how you cope with that. That must have taken therapy. After years of therapy, he was able to come over it. I don't know. It's like, okay. That's like you'd expect from a 3-year-old. And I saw the butterflies, and they were flying. Oh, okay, great.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, guy had a counterboat. Okay. Deal with it. All right, number 16. What? Sorry.
That was just funny. Guy had a counterboat. Deal with it. I was like, that was great.
Yeah. Number 16, middle of the day, no drinking or drugs involved.
As far as we know.
As far as he's telling us. Yeah. This is by Tim Madred. T Madred. Did I miss anything?
No, it looks good.
Okay. I got to check with Don now because I miss those names all the time. A purple horse, right. Middle of the day, no drinking or drugs involved. In retrospect, I was probably wearing those pajama...
It was wearing...
It was probably wearing those pajama things some horses have, but that horse was purple. Okay.
Sorry, there's no way drugs or drinking was not involved in that statement.
If you couldn't
Maybe it wasn't at the time of the sighting, but it was at the time of the writing.
The memory changed. The last one on this story is along the same back road stretch, another one sentence by Map BC. Driving through Nevada, I saw a roadrunner and coyote along the same back road stretch.
Get the hell away.
That's awesome.
Drive as far and as fast as you can.
Get away. Watch out for anvils and roller skates and rockets.
And pianos.
And false caves.
Yes, false caves. Strange roads that seem flat.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's crazy. Saw a coyote and a roadrunner. They weren't, as far as he knew, chasing each other. He just saw both of them. But that is almost unexplained, isn't it? Wow. That was a short little sprint to the end there. But we made it, because now we're going to go into some phantoms and monsters. Because I've still got a few of these. That's a Mysterious Universe one, but we're not going to cover that. What in the hell did I do? Whoops, I meant to do this one. I brought you guys Cryptid Coin again. I had the thing was circling there. Yeah. Oh, we're doing extra advertising for it tonight.
There you go.
But this is, of course, Lon Strickler's site, phantomsandmonsters.com. Great site. Please check it out. And also check out his podcast. It's called Phantoms and Monsters Radio. It was formerly Arcane Radio, but it's now been rebranded. It's Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And great site, great show, and good friend of ours. So, all right, Saturday, June 4th, 2022. This one is entered. Bigfoot wander into Marine Battalion ambush exercise. Yeah, wow. That's
not a place to get to wander into.
Actually, it's probably the best place because they're using dummy rounds.
Well,
they probably don't have live ammunition at all.
Not necessarily.
Well, maybe. But let's see what it says. Bigfoot wander in. Okay. An ex-Marine describes a battalion exercise where two large, upright, hairy beings wander into an ambush. Oh my God. The exercise is soon halted, then canceled. Very irregular and unexplainable action. And this is from Springfield, Massachusetts. Or Fran from Springfield, Massachusetts called in to tell his story. My name is Fran, and I live in Springfield, Massachusetts. And in May of 1973, I was a Marine. We did a battalion-size exercise in an area of California known as Casey Springs. We're told that there were no roads or no roads to get there. We were inserted by helicopter. I was sent out on a midnight ambush with 15 other Marines, and it was a computerized war game. It worked on the computer, and so they send Marines out to see if it can be feasibly done. What we did was when we were going after an aggressor force, we set up a linear-shaped ambush shaped like an L, and when your victims walk into it, it's a computer kill. Well, we set up this ambush at midnight, and we had two large individuals walk into our ambush, and we opened fire with blanks, and as it turns out, we thought they were bare, but they were upright. So we scrambled, shooting our blanks at these individuals, and they separated. One went one way, and the other went the other way, and we got back to our PPB, I don't know what that means, which is a platoon-sized patrol base, and we told our lieutenant what happened. He radioed it in to our commander, and this was the first night of a 4-day war game, and it was canceled. We were given orders to light a large fire, get a fixed bayonet, and stand on a 360 around our blazing fire. All throughout that night, we heard high-pitched sounds. The only way I can describe it was that of a death call or something human-like, but not a bear. And in the morning, we had 2 helicopters come in with those base game wardens and some other fellas. And to this day, I don't know who they are. We were made to bring them back to the area where this happened. 2 of the individuals walked where we directed them, and we were ordered to leave the area. And this is something the Marine Corps does not do, to cancel a computerized war game. There were 3,000 Marines involved, the logistics and the money that was spent on this, and it was canceled. Wow. Lon's note at the end, I've written a lot about the government/military versus Bigfoot. I experienced it personally, and it's obvious that the powers that be have made significant attempts to cover up the existence of this cryptid. You only have to wonder why. There are a variety of theories, including the UFO/alien connection.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
It is true. And then if you consider, okay, so let's say perhaps Bigfoot is extraterrestrial. And I personally don't think that's the case, but what the hell do I know? It's just a knee-jerk reaction from me. But if they are actively covering up UFOs and somehow these are are a part of that phenomena, then I guess that makes sense. A lot of people like to talk about, well, it's because of the logging industry and lots of special interests would take a hit, like what happened with that owl and how it shut down logging in a huge operation.
Happened in 1973.
Yes, right.
So that really wasn't too much of an issue back then.
Yeah, you're probably right. So whatever the case is, it seems that there is knowledge of it.
Right.
I don't doubt this guy's story at all.
Nope, not at all. As a matter of fact, we were talking to Todd Neese,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Right.
said his first experience was during some kind of a military exercise.
Right. They were doing like munitions, exploding munitions and stuff, and they just exploded. If you haven't heard that story, check it out. It's on our podcast. He was on the YouTube show too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
And where he talked about it, but it's a fascinating story of them being on maneuvers and doing some test exploding, because it was part of his operation as part of the military, and a place that they had just blown a little bit ago. They went to a third location. They did one, then they did a second one, then they went to a third location to do the third one.
Right.
And as they were coming back from that one, they came back, and then the second one, there stood, I think, two or three. Yeah, sitting there and just standing there. And only he and a couple other guys actually saw it. But the rest of the team was just kind of looking down. It had been a long day.
Right.
But they saw him standing there. They were like 8 or 9 feet tall and just standing there. And I found that really interesting. And Todd talked about this as well, because if these were just an animal,
right.
If you ignited a bomb anywhere near animals, they're gonna be gone for like a week or so.
Yep.
They're not going to be anywhere in the area, because whatever's going on, they can't process. They don't know what the hell to do.
Right.
They just know that they're afraid for their lives. But these things were aware of it and then came right back afterwards.
They seem to investigate.
Right, like they were checking out what the people just did.
Right.
And that really does speak to intelligence. I mean, it really would seem to suggest that they weren't just working on a instinct level. They were working on a intellectual level, looking at what was going on. Yeah, curiosity. Yeah, exactly. So I find that story absolutely fascinating, and Todd's fun to talk to about it. To hear him tell the story is really fascinating, and other stuff that happened after that. Just even in that one incident, that there's more to that story, including discussions he had with other people, but. Really a fascinating story. So I don't doubt. Now, what I find actually surprising about this was that, I always consider Bigfoot as very much the master of his domain.
Right.
Or her domain, whatever the case, their domain. And the fact that 3,000 Marines were able to surprise a couple of Bigfoot, to me, is just
shut up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they actually
3,000 of them. Yeah.
Right. 3,000 of them were sitting there and opening fire with blanks. But they're opening fire on these things. I'm sure the Bigfoot probably left fudge stripes going each way. But, the fact that they didn't know they were there, I find that fascinating. But at any case, I guess it is possible to surprise them every once in a while.
Yeah, well,
there you go.
I suppose it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So very interesting story. Let's go to the next one from Phantoms and Monsters as well. And this one kind of troubles me, but it kind of ties into it. It's bizarre Bigfoot hunters with assault rifles observed in Holmes County, Florida. And let's check this one out. This was dated when? May 27th, yeah? Oh, sure. But this is, let's see what it says. Donnie claims that on the morning of November 1st, 2019, he was out hunting the trail in the woods when he encountered some strange, heavily armed men in the forest. That area in Westville, Florida, Holmes County, is said to have had a lot of Bigfoot sightings, nicknamed by locals as cavemen. As I was walking down the Horseshoe Road en route to the place I was planning on sitting, I came across a game warden and two very odd, out-of-place men. It was 38 degrees, and the two men wore only very thin black outfit that resembled a basic pair of coveralls. No jacket, no gloves, no toboggan cap, no warm outer garments of any kind. They both had a pistol on their belt and a rifle over their shoulder that I believe was an AR-15. I was asked about the animals I was hunting, asked about seeing bears, and asked if I was filming. The game warden did ask for my ID, hunting license, and permits, which is the norm when you see any game warden in Florida. I asked the game warden if something was happening, if I needed to leave, but he simply said it was just a training exercise and it was no problem for me to hunt in that area. What has got me puzzled is how they got out there. There's only one place to park and enter that area, and my car was the only vehicle there. They certainly did not enter the area from the west, north, or east side because it is surrounded with swamps, and none of them had any mud on their feet whatsoever. I was treated very fairly, but it was bizarre, really bizarre. If anyone has ever experienced these people before, please share your encounter with me. I've never seen these men before, and I've never seen the logo before. The logo on the front upper left side of their shirt was a multi-pointed star, maybe 6 points, and there was about 6 to 8 letters above the star, 3 or 4 letters below the star, and a strange design in the center of it. I think the design in the center was either a flying eagle holding a few snakes or in its talons, or a flying dragon holding snakes in its claws. I don't have any idea who these men were, but I think I have a good guess why they were there. So the source was Standing Goats Rescue YouTube channel, the Bigfoot Game Warden and the Men in Black. So were those Men in Black, though? I don't know. That's certainly not the typical description of Men in Black, as they're often depicted very much like in the movies. But again, maybe their game has changed too. So we have this really dated reference for Men in Black. But could Men in Black be, people in black fatigues and oddly dressed for very cold weather? Maybe. Whatever the case is, that's a strange report. And there's apparently another video or something.
That was Lee Hempel.
What?
Scroll down. That's Lee Hempel.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Lee Hempel is worked with Linda Godfrey a bunch on the Beast of Bray Road work that she does. But Lee Hempel is actually the property owner that Linda Godfrey did a lot of research on over there with Lee. And Lee's had several people come in and check it out as well. Apparently, the activity is still ongoing over there as far as the Beast of Bray Road. Right. I don't know, man. It sounds freaky, though, doesn't it?
It sounds kind of supernatural, actually.
It really does.
Some of it does sound really supernatural.
Yeah, it's not the typical Dogman reports.
That's better.
Yeah.
Now it can be heard.
I'm sure they heard you through my mic.
I'm sure I'm pretty loud.
No, yeah, your voice carries pretty well. So that's an interesting report as well. But another Bigfoot-esque kind of story. But is that the new Men in Black? Do they wear fatigues now or weird overalls carrying some kind of assault rifles?
Are they militarized?
Right. I was making the point that our reference for the Men in Black is based in the 50s. Right. Where they dressed a specific classic way, much like the classic G-Man look.
Yeah, there you go.
So maybe they've adapted their dress as well, but very strange. All right, let's go to the next and last one from Phantoms and Monsters, and this is some other kind of cryptid. I don't know what to make of this, but it could be a Bigfoot. Of course, red-eyed dark figure would certainly match a number of accounts of people witnessing Bigfoot. There's many claims of them having red glowing eyes, so perhaps. But let's check this one out. Dreadful red-eyed dark figure encountered in Madison County, North Carolina. A retired U.S. Air Force career veteran and his family moved to rural western North Carolina. One day during his regular walk, he encounters a horrifying red-eyed dark figure standing in the nearby woods. It says, my dad was a career U.S. Air Force. After 25 years of service, he retired, and we moved back to my mom's hometown in Madison County, North Carolina. My dad was always active and walked every day to stay in shape. Whether we were stationed near the beach or forests, he would walk for miles, picking up trash and visiting neighbors. We moved to a rural area, but close enough to get to town, in about 15 minutes. The area had not been developed much, and there were high power lines crisscrossing the area. My dad would walk along these clear-cut areas until he had a very bad experience. My dad didn't scare easy, But whatever he saw that day scared him and filled him with fear. This particular day was in late August, early September, so it was still light after he got home from work. The man worked until he was 65 years old. After dinner, he decided to go for a walk along the power lines, something he had done for several years. He would always tell us in which direction he was going. He'd been gone for about 90 minutes when he returned home, looking as white as a sheet and very agitated. He told me and my sisters that he didn't want us to walk along the power lines anymore and would prefer that we didn't go beyond a certain point, about a quarter mile away. Knowing him so well, we didn't dare question him about it. Sometime later during the next day or so, he told us what he had seen. He had walked to where the power line crossed a major highway and was walking back, and he said that during that entire walk back, he felt like he was being watched. This area is all piney woods and no houses whatsoever. At this time, he still smoked cigarettes, and he stopped to light one up and turned around to block the wind. When he did this, he looked up into the woods, and there was a dark, black figure about 30 yards into the woods staring at him. This figure had red eyes, and when it snarled and growled at him, he saw the yellow fangs. My dad said he felt evil fill the air and was terrified. My dad always wore a gold cross on a chain that his mother had given him many years ago for protection. My dad put his hand on the cross and kept it there while he walked home. He said the dark figure followed him but never came out of the woods and never got any closer. When he got within a quarter mile of the house, the dark figure dissipated and vanished. The air felt safe again. My dad didn't scare easy. He was a Korean and Vietnam veteran and flew reconnaissance flights over enemy territory, but whatever he saw that evening visibly terrified him. He never walked that way again. There were 2 ponds on the property, and while we were always comfortable at the pond close to the front of the house, none of us really liked to go to the other smaller pond, which was close to the woods where Dad saw the dark figure. He never saw the dark figure again, and he always felt like he wasn't supposed to see it when he did, but did so by accident.
That's possible.
About 30 years ago, the property was sold to a developer. A large church was built and an apartment complex. Part of the land is still undeveloped because it belongs to the utility company. I have no urge to go walking along the cleared area. Yeah, no doubt. That would be horrifying.
Hey, Wes said something about sent a video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wants everybody's opinion on it. He says, sent you a weird video. Maybe get everybody's opinion on it. I think the sounds were added, but the original was wiped off YouTube. So until then, it's a creepy video.
Okay.
So
I see it here. Which one? You sent me a couple. Listener report. Is it the listener report? Or is it the other one? Maybe it's
Giants
this.
and Fallen Angels.
That one. Let's see what it looks like here. Okay, hold on. And drag this over and have a look here. Hold on. We're going to load this up. See what you guys think. All right, and here it is. Is this able to be blown up, or is it? What do we got here? Okay. It is the Giants one that he's talking about?
Don't know yet.
I don't know yet either. Okay. Okay, so it shouldn't be copyrighted. Okay. This is the one.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
Y'all check this out. Well, I said those are them giants I told y'all about. That's underneath the earth. I already told y'all there's giants in Iran. I hear the chains. I'm conflicted as to whether it's a fallen angel or a giant.
Interesting. Wes says the original video was shot by an archaeologist who left the job site. This lady is just reacting to the video.
Right. Yeah, I can tell that she's.
Yeah, because it didn't sound the voice in the video didn't sound correct to me. But
yeah,
that's interesting.
It's really hard to say what it is because you don't know. I mean, without having the source, do you know that those sounds were present at the recording? I don't know. I mean, but it's really creepy. It's really creepy. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments what you're thinking. I think those things are. Could these old legends be based on some form of truth? And I don't mean to disqualify any faith and stuff. If you believe that there are fallen angels cast down under the earth and chained, right. Much like the descriptions in the Torah and stuff, perhaps. I don't know.
Somebody brought up jinn. The jinn?
Jinn, sure.
Genies, if you will.
Yeah, the jinn. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. It's really creepy. If those sounds are legit, oh my God, that's absolutely disturbing. And then you hear about, you start equating that. Okay, this is apparently Iran, but in Afghanistan, of course, the Kandahar Giant was allegedly attacking U.S. troops up in the mountains in Afghanistan, and so could there be subterranean dwelling giant people around? Yeah, I mean, I guess anything's possible. The last thing I would ever say is, no, that's not possible, and this is what it is. I don't know what it is, but that's really creepy. Ugh. Would they have chains? I don't know. Wow.
Yeah, you never know.
That's plenty creepy. What do you guys think? Sounds like my stomach after fasting. Yeah, Mr. Bisson, I believe that you're right, or Bison, however you say it. But 6-pack and a pizza, I can make those sounds. Yeah. Sounds like me after taco night.
Just a big bowl of ice cream for me.
Yeah, it sounds like dinosaur sound footage. Yeah, it kind of does, Jake, doesn't it? How would anybody know what a fallen angel and such even be? I don't know. And that's the thing. We can only base it on potential legends and stories that have stood the test of time. And of course, the biblical references have stood the test of time of there being things that were sealed in the tomb. And is that tomb in the earth, or is it some other plane of existence? I don't know, but perhaps. When the uncanny pops up in the media, the reality of it is always what? I don't understand. The reality of it is always. But the mundane style of the footage gives it an authentic feel. Sure, that's a good point. I mean, it's certainly unremarkable footage, and it's really ambiguous what this hand is doing in this hole, and do those sounds really match what was heard at the time of the filming, or were they layered in after? And if the original has been wiped off of YouTube, is that because it's just too much heat from people going, oh, this is crap, or haters, right. Or is it because that, there's an ongoing effort to subdue that kind of information? And I don't pretend to know. those are certainly things. I know that if I was out there digging a hole and I heard those sounds,
I'd be filling that hole.
I'd
back
be adding
in.
dirt, a lot of dirt. And, you know, I don't know. That's absolutely horrifying to think there could be these enormous things that are existing right under our feet.
Right.
Sometimes you think about those sinkholes that just magically appear
Right.
and wipe out neighborhoods, and you got to wonder, is there just a whole bunch of stuff going on under the crust of the earth?
Would not surprise me at all.
Well, you know, there's, what is it? The Hopi Indians had the story of those ant people,
Yep.
that helped save them from the deluge, and certainly they were a subterranean dwelling species
Right.
that took the Hopi in and saved them
Right.
from being utterly wiped out.
Absolutely. And then also, you know, we have the hollow earth theories.
Sure.
You know, and things like that. So who knows?
Right. And I don't pretend to know, but it's absolutely fascinating and a bit frightening, to be honest with you.
Wes says, burn it and let God figure it out.
Add fire.
Yeah.
That's how you deal with something like that.
When in doubt, fire it out.
Yeah. I guess I had heard years ago that was an old, the term "you're fired" is actually an old Scandinavian reference, that when somebody was kicked out of the village, they were basically burned in their house.
Huh.
So they were fired.
Okay.
I don't know if that's actually true, but it's
Maybe they were
potentially an old Viking thing.
Yeah, maybe they were kicked out of the town and their house was burned down.
Yeah.
It was kind of now you have no place to live. Go away.
Yeah, but that's apparently a version of that
That could be it.
that I've heard.
That could be it.
And the whole 9 yards, that apparently is a reference to the old fighter planes in World War II. They had a 9-yard belt of bullets.
Oh.
And so when you gave something the whole 9 yards, that was burning
that's
up your whole load of ammo on a target. So, yeah, little tidbits of silly information.
Huh.
Is it true? Well, it could be, but I think that's crazy, very crazy. Yeah, thanks, Wes. I appreciate you sharing that. That's
Absolutely.
extraordinarily creepy.
Now I have to find the original video.
Right. It makes you, wonder, the spelunkers actually crazy.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Well, have you seen that movie? What was the movie? These gals go on a weekend and they go spelunking, and they encounter these creatures, and only one person. The Deep. Was it The Deep?
I don't know.
Oh God, it was just crazy though. So yeah. Anyhow.
That's very interesting, whatever it is, but creepy as hell. Very creepy stuff. I don't know. That kind of stuff is really unnerving, though. Woof. All right, so what do we got for time here? 8:48. My God, we've only got time to go through a few more chunks of the stuff we've been doing. Are you ready for more of it, Don?
Yeah, let's see what's left.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the have you ever seen a supernatural entity from the Quora and see what's next. Excuse me, I'm a little froggy. Haven't talked much for a few days. Now I'm talking straight for hours here. This is by Rose Moon Dreamer, and she said, have you ever seen a supernatural entity? Yes. Most of us working in a building saw it too, or him. We just don't know it at the time. We just didn't know it at the time. It was a small publishing company, and the warehouse crew happened to wear plaid flannel shirts. One day, I needed to talk to one of them and saw him walked out the back door, so I followed him, and when I got outside, no one was around. Well, I was puzzled how he could get out into the truck and be gone in that time, and I went back in and asked how long he would be gone. I was told he left about an hour before and should be back at such and such a time. There simply wasn't any way I could have seen someone, and I puzzled about this out loud and at lunch, and we put it together that a figure in plaid had been seen numerous times going through a door that, when followed, wasn't there. Everyone just figured there had to be an explanation except me. I knew what I'd seen. The place had a lot of paranormal activity going on, but mostly in the office area. Cords were cut overnight. Oh man, that's horrible. And the alarm went off, chairs were moved. I was the first one in the morning. Once I went to the bathroom and there was powdered cleanser all over the room walls and ceilings. There wasn't any way that someone could have walked out of that room without being covered in it, and yet no one had. Also, the bathroom was central, and someone would have had to have walked past there, people, and believe me, they would have been noticed. It had a strong bleach smell. While our poltergeist was destructive, our visible ghost seemed benign. No one reported feeling he was anything but normal. And I was doing a lot of paranormal investigating at the time, and in spite of cut cords, I never felt anything hostile there. It was a brand new construction, and there had never been a building on that site before. No one had even been harmed in construction of that building. The owners, who had also seen the phenomena, researched it, and there was nothing. None of the phenomena happened at my end of the building. I thought the destructive events may have been caused unintentionally by the very unhappy pubescent daughter of one of the owners. She often went to work with her dad, and those events happened in that part of the business. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and most of the working class guys here wore plaid flannel shirts during that time. A friend and I were coming home at 3 a.m. one morning, and I saw a man in jeans and a plaid flannel shirt walk across the road some distance away. Caught in the headlights, it was a very odd place and time, and as we drove by the spot, to my surprise, there was no path or house there, just a thick hedge. So if he was real, I have no idea where he went. My friend was chattering away and didn't mention him. It was during the same years as the warehouse ghost, so who knows? Maybe the ghost was haunting me, not the warehouse. If he was, he never made himself known to me personally, and I never noticed any other guys in plaid who probably weren't there. I suspect we see a lot of phenomena our brain makes excuses for. Yeah, it could be. We can reason away some pretty incredible stuff.
That's true.
Yes, it is. Should talk to some of my exes.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right. What do we got time for here? Got to keep an eye on the clock. We're about one more. Yeah, one more.
Sure.
One more. Well, maybe two more. This one's really short. This is by L.J. Andrews. Yes, several times. For the record, I hold undergrad and graduate degrees in science and do not engage in wishful or magical thinking.
Big frickin' deal.
Don, that's a credibility check.
Oh, sorry.
He just wrote a credibility check.
Yes.
Cashed it, right? All at the same time.
Fake news.
These were not hallucinations, nor were they drug-induced or otherwise affected experiences. I was not dreaming. As clearly as you know, you are awake, conscious, and reading this. So was I when these things happened. I have no explanation other than the obvious, that the spirit realm must be in some way real. Whether these are sentient entities or whether they are just events playing themselves out over and over again, like a movie screen, I don't know, although I'm inclined toward the former. I can tell you, though, that I hope it does not ever happen again. Even though I never felt threatening, it's a terrifying experience. All of that to never say anything. We don't know what they saw, right?
Well, there's nothing new either. That's a typical American thing as well.
So let's read another one. It's about time, because I'm losing my voice as well. So, all right, here's by Manali Day, and it's the same thread. Many people experience the supernatural incidents in their lifetime. Some ignore it while some acknowledge it. Scientifically, anything which can't be proven by the laws of nature and which doesn't have a natural property is referred to as the supernatural. Personally speaking, I've never experienced a supernatural entity. Okay, we're going to skip hers then. I love that she spent some time thinking about it, but this is a paranormal show. Yes, it happened about 6 months ago, May 2018. This is by Gunilla Hartgers. On May 2018, I was in a meeting at work in a conference room with glass walls. The conference room's in the middle of the office, and it has an oblong-shaped table with 12 or so chairs around it. The room is surrounded by other office space with an open plan. We're about 50 people in our office. I was in the conference room with 7 or 8 of my teammates.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's not people in our office. I was in the conference room with 7 or 8 of my teammates. Branch.
Go ahead.
I found a video.
You found a video?
I found the video.
Our video?
The video of what I think I found the original video.
Oh, did you? Okay. What do you want to send me a link so I can put it on?
Yeah.
We'll listen to a different version of it. We'll come back to Gunilla on the next show, but Don found another version of that video. Excuse me, hold on. There we go. I'm just waiting for that to come.
Copy.
Okay, here comes the link. Don actually found, he sleuthed out the original video.
Well, I sleuthed out
or
a
version.
video without the lady.
Without, yeah, that's what I mean. More of a clean version without her narration.
Right. Let's see here. Dang it. Brent, where'd you go? Here you go.
I'm in there.
Okay, there you are. All right. There. Strange noises coming from a grave in Iran.
There we go. Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's try that.
Let's try this one. See what happens here. I'm opened it. Let me pause it, and we'll get to this video. We'll go full screen on this one too. Which channel is this from? Another
This is called Truth Eyes.
Truth Eyes.
The other one was called Monica's Channel Truth.
Okay, so this one's Truth Eyes on YouTube. Is this channel TRUTHEYES, and this is strange noise coming from grave in Iran. It's 2 minutes long, so let's get to this one and have a look. Okay, here we go. Let's play it. Yeah, this is the video she was talking about. Okay. I see something that kind of bothers me about this now.
Yeah?
Without her talking.
What's that?
There's no ambient noise. There's no noise of him making his hand motions and brushing things away. There's just the sound.
Right.
So that to me doesn't make sense. Yeah, now it's so much clearer. You'd think there would be some noise atmospherically.
Well, as a matter of fact, somebody in the comments under this video says, okay, first of all, this is an audio recording if you're slow to catch on. Second, the sound of the camera doesn't even match the sound of the damn noise you can hear in the back.
Right.
But I guess anyone can make anything just sound about, well, yeah. So he's saying that, yeah, he agrees with you. You're not hearing anything from the ambient noise of them. The rocks, the footsteps, the brushing of the
right.
of the.
You should hear
space.
Like something that would, but it's just a soundtrack on this footage.
Right. And it sounds like a familiar. Some of that sounds familiar.
Like
to
Halloween-y kind of soundtrack stuff.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in doubt.
Yeah, I am too. Now that I can really hear it without her talking, because we were watching her record the video and her talking over it.
Right.
With her like her phone or something, so it was hard to hear what was the actual sound versus what was her sound, and all of the ambient noise was coming from her and her voice. So this is there's not even a breeze sound, no breathing noise from the guy, no right. Like, oh, look at this, and I think it's a fabrication, but it's good. We drilled it down. Nice job, Don. You found the source. So I'm gonna put this one to bed. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm going to say no too.
Yeah, but thanks. I mean, we always appreciate this kind of material because, we're all on this journey. We all want to see things and talk about them. This is a talk show, first and foremost. So
we talk and show.
It's like show and tell. Absolutely. So, but yeah, that's a cool video. But yeah, I don't think it's legit. Now that we hear the clean version without her talking, it's very clear that there is footage. But these sounds are layered on top of it.
Right,
It's not.
yeah.
There's no ambient noise at all.
I'd be willing to bet that what they're actually trying to show is that when they were digging this sinkhole and
right.
maybe some air coming from from the hole itself, the cave.
Sure.
Meaning that there's some other way through there, or something like that. But I don't think that they recorded any of those noises from that, because like you said, there's no ambient noise other than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there you go.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Nothing to see here, but we love the journey of discovery. So that's all we got for you, Don. Anything in closing?
Nope. Just don't forget you can get your gear at Teesprings at our Paranormal Portal gear store.
The shelf is below.
Correct.
Should be, anyway.
There's a new bucket hat. I'm still working on that bucket hat.
Working
I
on
don't know
more
what I can
gear.
do, yeah.
We're working on more gear, folks.
Yeah,
So
there's going to be a lot more gear coming up. So.
so much gear.
Yep.
You're going to have a whole wardrobe if you want. Paranormal Portal wardrobe.
There you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for us. But anyway, we love you all. Thank you so much for being a part of the journey. Thanks for stopping in and going through the portal with us. And remember, we'll be live again on Friday night and Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're not busy, come hang out with us again. If you're new, get subscribed so you get notified whenever we're live.
That's right.
We'll be watching for you. So anyway, that's all I got for you. I'm going to go rest my voice, but we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night.